What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube, presented as always by our friends at Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis. If this Michigan State, Michigan saga is dragging on for you, if you're worried about the Michigan State-Indiana game, whatever it is that's stressing you out, maybe you just ate too much candy and you need to reset, Pure Options is here for you. Go to pureoptions.com, download their app today, get 20% off your next purchase. You can become a Pure Perks loyalty member there and have your Pure Options experience tailored just to you. And also, if you're in Muskegon, you're anywhere near Mount Pleasant, Detroit, Lansing, Pure Options is very close by. Again, pureoptions.com for the location nearest you. And our Friday afternoon show brought to you by our friends at Firekeepers Casino and Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Download the app today. Bet whatever's on your mind. If you like Michigan State +8, I'm seeing it now against Indiana. You can get that on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Michigan is plus, I think, 14.5. Is that what it is against Oregon? A lot of good college football games. Lions, Packers, lots of good stuff to bet this weekend at the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app, downloadable on your phone. Jason, how you doing, brother?
I'm never going to financially recover from this.
Right up into my rectum, and it was painful.
What's up, buddy? How was Halloween last night?
It was awesome. It was a good time.
Did you have a bunch of people?
We had some
trick-or-treaters?
Yeah, and we had some people over, and the people come up to the lawn. Our neighbors do a big shindig, too. It's fun. Everybody's out there, though.
So is there a lot of, like in your neighborhood, is there bowls of candy left out, like please take one kind of thing? Or is it you guys all sit out like a weird neighborhood?
We're the weird neighborhood. We sit out and we talk to the kids, and we let them take it.
Did you have any like older trick-or-treaters? Because everyone's favorite Michigan fan, Jordan, in his new house now, he actually had a 50-year-old trick-or-treater show up with no costume, and he shut Halloween down after 30 minutes, which I can't blame him because I've never had a 50-year-old show up like that. I've had 20-something, back in the day when you used to hand out candy, but, I'm like, come on, man. Like, no outfit at least?
That's
if you're 50, I mean, if you want to show up and at least throw an outfit together, I'll throw some candy at you.
Bring a kid with you. It didn't even have to be your own kid.
Keep the kids away. I don't think these people need kids. That's but if you want a candy bar, I'll give it to you. Now go away. But
we had some older teenagers, a few, but I'm always grateful they're trick-or-treating rather than doing other stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm like, welcome to the neighborhood. Yeah. Hope you remember us fondly. Please don't come back and egg us or do any vandalism or anything like that. We love you.
Do kids do that anymore? I feel like kids don't even. Because back in the day when we would toilet paper houses and stuff.
We had more imagination back in the day. We had less to do online. Yeah, it was better.
Run those streets.
Yeah. They wouldn't even know how to respond these days to the pranks and the things we used to do in the old days where you used to TP each other's houses for fun. It was almost a
when
sign of affection.
Rich Paczynski and we toilet papered his neighbor across the way, and we found out it was like an 80-year-old lady, so we had to go take it down the next day.
That sucks. Yeah. It's a lot of work. It is
like, oh my God, it's an old lady. What did we do?
At least you had the common decency to go back.
I did feel bad for that. Yeah. I will break a young kid's finger though for his candy bag when I'm 15, but no, show some respect. By the way, can we do a little meeting on the air here?
Yeah, meeting on the air.
Why do we you put out the Twitter question tweet?
Yeah.
And this is for Therese as well because she wants to have some Twitter questions, but it's really you put it out at like midnight.
It was not great.
Can we change that, or is there a different?
I usually put it out earlier. We just had lots of stuff going on.
I don't know. It's been like the past couple of weeks, though. You put it out at like 11:30 midnight. I'm like, I think it's for some like algorithm thing you're thinking of. But like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the listeners, if they like it that way, I don't know.
I like to have it out for the overnight crowd, like people like Dominic who work overnight, and so that it's in their waking hours. So at least you have like 12 hours.
But he's going to get that no matter what time you tweet that. Though, what about the T who's smoking a little Pure Options late at night and wants to get him in, and then when she wakes up in the morning ready for her job to be professional, she doesn't feel the same vibe is what I'm saying. I don't want to miss out on people's tweets.
It should be up by 8 p.m. I was just busy doing other things. Okay. That's all it is. And normally it is.
Fair enough.
And it also helps us get a few less, which sometimes is nice. But it really is supposed to be up at 8 p.m. It was just like,
Well, you can edit them. You don't have to put people in.
I was doing Halloween things, so that was what happened. And I think we got a great batch of Groovy Donut Twitter questions, which we'll get to here momentarily. We talked about on Wednesday doing a feature. I still want to do. Maybe we'll do it Monday on like the worst emails I've gotten, the most crude emails. I have not had time to really go through and decipher the worst and what's appropriate and not, and who's fair to call out. But I will do that at some point this weekend because I think that would be a fun segment. Another show meeting. We'll probably have a Monday show. We talked about maybe doing Tuesday, but we can do a Monday show the day of a Michigan State basketball game. We're just not going to have Michigan State basketball hot takes. So I'm just going to put that out there.
I'll fire some out.
Okay,
why not?
Other than you.
Just some blind hot takes.
I just don't want things to change a ton by that night. So like maybe a here and there a little bit, but mostly a football hot take show for Monday is what we'll or anything else that you're vibing in
next week Vegas, baby. I can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna do probably a Monday and Wednesday show next week, and then Jason's off to Vegas.
Yeah,
for the bye week. Before we get into the Groovy Donut Twitter questions, as we always do, what we're betting this weekend, presented by Firekeepers and the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. If you are, looking for a cool experience this weekend, Firekeepers off I-94 in Battle Creek, Dacey's Tap Room and Sportsbook there at Firekeepers Casino. Really cool experience to have the whole sportsbook in front of you, and there are a lot of, be it the Michigan State game, be it whatever it might be it NFL Sunday. It's really cool to do, and you don't need to be in Vegas. You can do it right here in Battle Creek. Jason, you betting anything this weekend?
Yeah, man. I did get Penn State. I got a couple games that I like. I don't know if I'm going to parlay all these together, but here's 4 games. Penn State, I got it yesterday at +4. I still like it at +3.5. I'm kind of fading that Oregon -14 and hook. I think they kill Michigan, but I'm going to fade that one. I like Washington, Graham, +2.5 at home against USC and Clemson. I haven't bet on Clemson and Dabo and the boys in a while, but -10 against Louisville. I've watched Louisville a couple times this year. I think they're ass at Clemson. I think they get it done there. And Baylor against TCU, I like money line. There's a little juice on it, but -153. I think the spread was around 3. Baylor -3, that is. So I like Baylor. Maybe if you can get that down to an alternate line, -2 and a hook. And in the NFL, only one game I really like, and that's Atlanta, and it's -3 against Dallas. Atlanta is home for that.
All right. Yeah. You don't like the Lions, huh?
Listen, man, I can't. It's a away game. Packers on the road. I really don't try to bet spreads in the NFL anymore. I just do touchdown bets because it's too crazy for me. Yeah. But
I got a couple soccer ones for the soccer crowd out there. I like Everton. It's speaking to me. I know it's a little risky because they're on the road, but Southampton, they're better than Southampton, and it is an even matchup. It's straight pick 'em, which means draw no bet. If you get a tie, you get your money back. -115 for Everton at Southampton. I like that. I think there's a decent chance it's a tie, but I also think they're more likely to win than lose. So I like that quite a bit. And I also like Aston Villa is an underdog at Tottenham. You get a full half goal. In other words, you win if they tie at Tottenham at -115. I think that's a great price, 9 a.m. Sunday morning. So
is it better just to stop and cough or just to try to fight through?
I don't even have to cough.
Because it happens to Bill Simmons and it happens to me every once in a while too. And I'm just like, should we just keep going through it? Because it's kind of like up and down.
Yeah.
Or you just do one hearty.
I'm good. I'm good to go.
Okay.
I needed you to talk for a minute.
Soccer and that, man.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The phlegm is everywhere for people. All right, let's get into more pleasant things.
Was that it? Was that the end of it? I didn't mean to ruin your...
That was it. I just had 2 games. 2 games for people. Digging into, it's time to get into your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Jason, are you ready, sir?
Yep. Eric Schultz up first. I like Jonathan Smith, and I think he'll succeed. We've seen nothing so far to suggest otherwise. That said, should MSU fans wish we had Signetti? If not, why not?
I mean, time will tell on that. Obviously, I think Signetti would be a good coach wherever he goes. He's clearly a good coach. If Signetti was the coach of Michigan State this year, they were going to lose to Ohio State and Oregon, right? Their schedule is a lot more difficult than Indiana, so I don't know what that would look like and what he would be able to get. He's playing with a very veteran quarterback. Michigan State with a young quarterback. Who would have they gotten? What would it look like? But
in that schedule,
yeah, it's hard to know. That's really the thing. It's just the one thing I'd say for Jonathan Smith is at the Power 5 level, he's built a program already. And and Kurt Signetti has brought over a bunch of transfers who are clearly Power 5 caliber from James Madison and a quarterback from Ohio, and he'll have to keep it. And I have no doubt he's a good hire, and they're going to be good. So I think MSU would have been fine, but I don't think I think there's a lot of situational stuff right now that makes him look like a better hire. And the other thing for Jonathan Smith is if he stays at MSU a long time and it works, he's a younger guy, and maybe that has some advantages too. I don't know. But, yeah, no, you could make the argument right now that every program should wish they had Kurt Cignetti, but I think every program also wishes they had 8 home games and played their only true road games to this point at UCLA and Northwestern.
Next one from Eric. MSU clearly wanted to move on from the Michigan thing. They got to know who was stomped on, but didn't say it. Do you think that's the right move in the grand scheme? I get that, like, you likely don't beat Indiana if this becomes a 2-week thing, but is it in MSU's best interest to let Michigan off the hook?
Yeah, I think my understanding, and this is not something I have from anybody specifically, but my sense is that whoever was that staffer does not want to be patient zero in this rivalry.
Welcome to the blue wall.
And just doesn't want to, and if that person had really wanted to be out there, that that would be a thing. It is interesting that I listened to, or I read the full transcript in the Freep had a better better article than MLive did about Sharon Moore's 97-1 The Ticket interview on Khalil Mullings, and it's just weird at this point because this idea that he was pulling people off people, and he was I'd love to see that video, because the video that I have access to, that I think the Big Ten has access to, doesn't really lend itself to think that. So if Sharon Moore is saying that with authority, as if and just so you know, I've reached out to Mullings a couple different ways and told him I'm happy to write the column with his perspective, but he's got to
Hey, cool, it's Graham Couch here.
Yeah, my guess is he's not going to want to do it, but it's
I don't know if you listen to my podcast.
In the interest of fairness. And because I would love to know. Nobody's asked specifics. Like, why did it look like you were not pulling people off when you actually were? And he was also the first guy that sort of exacerbated the situation between Loveland and Jones that added, So the idea that he was a superhero, I don't have any evidence that Khalil Mullings is a superhero based on anything I've seen. And if Michigan,
if Moore would have said something differently than superhero, though. Right? Is that what Moore said?
He did get more into it, and the idea he was pulling people off and trying to, that's not, again, why does the Big Ten not have everything Michigan does? If there's people in Michigan shop who have video, or if there's local media that are Michigan friendly and that gave them video that they haven't given to the Big Ten, it doesn't make sense to me.
But why did the Big Ten have to make a decision so quickly, though? They couldn't just wait at least a week to say, hey, we're just waiting for other internal things to get our way, and we'll make a decision in a week or two.
We'll see if we can get some more video. Yeah, no, their investigative arm sucks. I mean, that's very clearly, and it's just not adequate, and maybe that's something they need to address over time if they are going to be the decision makers and arbiters of punishment. Then they've got to have a better investigative arm than they do right now, and they just don't.
Next one from Eric. Graham described the MSU Ferris State game as interesting and then proceeded to list several red flags. Booker got pushed around by a D2 team and isn't necessarily in the winning time lineup. Fears might be worse than Holloman. Was interesting really the best word there?
I found it interesting. Because a couple things. One, I really want to see Jeremy Fears against teams, once the season schedule starts, and teams like Kansas, and when they get out to Maui, and he's up against guards who can really challenge you, and that you've got to make plays around in difficult situations where your team needs you to really be a guy, because that's when you learn about these guys. Booker's going to get pushed around a little bit, and he's going to have to use his length to fight that off, and they're going to have to. And if he's a 4-man, they got somebody else at the 5 that the matchup, he should have some advantages in the matchups with his length too. But interesting is how I found it.
Dominic next. Graham, we argued about Brandon Sowers returning punts. We battled over Izzo in the transfer portal, clashed over Harlan Barnett's kind eyes. I very much look forward to challenging you about the fact that Alan Haller is softer than baby shit. Are you excited? Cheers.
I can't wait, Dominic. This is going to be fun. No, Like, I understood the Sowards complaint, and I
did.
Yeah,
No kidding. As a football guy, he crushed some tape and came to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Oh,
I definitely understood. I
Good
understood
kid,
all
though.
of it.
I mean, solid kid.
Yeah,
Off the field,
Yeah, no, I get the reasoning that people aren't thrilled with the response by Haller. I don't know what the response could have been that would have. I don't know if the response
like
would
an
have,
angry response,
Yeah.
right? Some passion behind it, maybe.
if a more satisfying emotional response would have been better for MSU and Haller long term. I'm not sure though.
Like Graham when you rip on Lansing or Chris Castellani.
Yeah, fuck those people. Fuck those people.
Right there.
Right.
Right
That's
there.
what you're looking for. Yeah. Right.
That passion.
Right.
Dave Lincoln, is the criticism that Alan Haller is getting over the stomping incident justified? How could we have handled it better with the Big Ten?
The big thing is you got to win the game, and this is one thing that Haller has said repeatedly, and I think this is something that he has said to Jonathan Smith too, and I think Smith heard it loud and clear from his AD. Like, you just look so much. The best answer is to win, and if you're winning this in this rivalry, then you're speaking on the field. Everything else looks pretty whiny, and that's the problem with it, right? And in hindsight, to be honest, if you didn't have the person who was in the middle of it really wanting to come forward, in hindsight, maybe you just don't do anything. I don't know. I think I would have had a little more of a little stronger, harsher statement about the situation, but and so I understand I think criticism is always warranted when you're in a position of leadership and you don't do something that satisfies your fan base, your donor base, whatever it might be. The flip side of that is he's also got to be an adult here. And a lot of people, their responses to this were not very adult-like. And leadership is sometimes taking it on the chin. Now, the problem with that is if you take it on the chin too often, it does look like weakness, right? And from the Michigan State world, it feels like they take it on the chin more often than not, and I completely understand that perspective.
Dave Lakin next. Detroit News columnist Bob Horshitsky must intentionally try to infuriate MSU fans with headlines like Spartans should be wary of a real stomping now, as if last week's post-game incident wasn't real. Another example of the blue wall.
Well, Wojo is definitely
the blue wall.
He's definitely part of the blue curtain. There's no question about it.
It says here Horshitsky.
Horshitsky. Definitely part of the blue curtain. That's yeah. I mean, it is what it is. So
yeah. Ethan Douglas. Jason's line, Graham, blue wall bullshit needs to be a new drop for every time Graham talks about something nobody wants to hear about. God, I'd have to play it over and over and over again. I mean,
yeah, that's pretty much everything I say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the show.
And it's weird me playing my own kind of drop. I mean, right?
Your own voice. Yeah, we wouldn't even know if it was a drop or it was. Well,
it's just not. I feel like that's not my.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, let me get my drop real quick. It's kind of weird. Professor, do you anticipate the MSU player or staffer that may have been stomped on to come forward?
I do not. Nope. I think this is going to. The area I was really wrong on was that this is. And I said it would not fade away. Completely wrong. So it's going to fade away, I think, or at least fester and reveal itself in other ways, and just becomes part of the lore.
Is
of the
festering
rivalry.
good? Is that good for Jonathan Smith to maybe have it fester and then maybe it comes out next season?
I do think
in October.
There is an argument that's what happened here in terms of Jonathan Smith understanding and feeling the rivalry was good. In terms of having an emotional game that he sees the way people are reacting, I guarantee you he's hearing from fans, and hearing from his AD who really wants him to win this rivalry like this. I guarantee he feels it, and there's an argument to be made that if you were going to lose a game, you might as well lose one with some controversy and some angst and something that just adds to the feelings going forward.
But if Jonathan Smith, they won that game last week, let's say, I mean, would he still feel the same way about the rivalry and say, like, man, yeah, it definitely, you could feel it in the stadium, even if they won the game? I think the loss also piled on it, obviously, as well. But.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I don't know. It might have been different.
Skylar Verdon, thank you for that answer. Did you hope Did you hope the MSU-Michigan rivalry would be less toxic after this year's game? And when exactly did those hopes die away as you realized it's probably going to stay this way forever?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to stay this way, I think. Now, I do think the two coaches in place now are not going to exacerbate it. And so if you have two coaches that don't make it worse, for the most part, that helps. But it's just the feelings are so like think of all the feelings you feel about a lot of you feel about politics right now, however you feel about politics, because man, it is.
Oh, I love it, wall to wall. I love the text. I love the calls.
This felt
commercials.
This felt worse in terms of one against the other. One side is all like the thing that drives me nuts is, and this is like any situation with any fan base, but this is where it gets exacerbated, is the inability to put yourselves at all in anybody else's shoes and think reasonably by a lot of people. Like before you tweet anything, before you think anything, you should try to flip it. And even
what fun is that?
And even I tried to the other day before I wrote the column about Khalil Mullings, I tried to flip it in my head. I'm like, all right, just make sure if this was Michigan State, and I went back to the column I wrote the night of the tunnel brawl, which was really hard on Michigan State, and at least I recall it being hard on Michigan State. Went back to thinking about that, and I and thought, well, this is an entirely fair way to respond to this, and but. Apparently there was no teeth.
I think Michigan fans will be okay with this. Skylar Verdon.
I asked a few. They were like, good. Yeah, like that, Graham.
I love your work, man. Skylar Verdon, a lot of the hate I'm seeing from Michigan fans for the Mullings thing is directed at Solari in particular. Why is he being targeted so much?
I will.
Because of that.
I will. Solari's, I guess, an easy target. I don't know why. I know there was one tweet people weren't happy about.
Graham.
From him, but yeah, I guess that's it. He covers MSU, so therefore
he doesn't allow replies. I think.
Well, he does not allow replies.
Might have something to do with it.
Yeah, but smart man not allowing replies on Twitter.
Gorham, volleyball dad. Next on one of these Spartan boards, I suggested Signetti as a Tucker replacement. I was told he was too old. After Indiana wins by 27, should I drag my nuts all over the message board Saturday night?
Yeah, we don't have enough time for all of that.
You should brag. You
drag
should
those nuts, man.
Yep. If you were out in front on Signetti, then you should absolutely do that.
Yeah. Gorham, why is MSU such a poverty program?
I don't really know what that means. I mean, they have money. You're talking about just in terms of
what's poverty?
Yeah, I mean,
then what's Eastern Michigan?
Yeah, if they're poverty, Eastern Michigan's just drinking like puddle water.
Jesus,
it's not even poverty.
It is poverty, pretty much.
Yeah, they don't even get the free lunch card.
Guy's drinking out of a puddle, man.
Yeah.
Kurt Wisniewski, why in the hell are sports writers anointing this coach from Indiana the chosen one? Screw him. Google me. Google me, Kurt. Still pissed about last Saturday. What would you recommend for the pain?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I mean, this is Pure Options was built for the MSU football fan in your life. Or anytime you find yourself in a tit for tat with any opposing fan, other than remembering that you're both Lions fans largely, and you have a lot in common. You're probably hugging on Sundays. I would go with Pure Options. Go to pureoptions.com, and when you go into there, I mean, they will help you with whatever strain you'd like, however you like. Like, you want to smoke it? Do you want edibles? I'm an edible guy. My wife does not like the smell, so we do a lot more edibles. Jason likes the smell, so he likes. No, you're more of an edible guy, right?
No, I smoke weed.
Yeah,
that's all I do, pretty much. I'll throw an edible here and there, but yeah, I'm smoking.
When they took us on the tour of Pure Options before they became our presenting sponsor,
it was glorious. Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah,
and this is how I didn't think I smelled at all. I got home with my jacket I was wearing that day. Elizabeth was
like,
you
get out of the house.
She said, "Yeah, you got to wash that. Like that's not going to work." It was pretty. That was an amazing tour. That place is pretty damn sweet, for sure. Yeah, but
you always make your wife sound so fun.
She is fun. Yeah, she held a
great stories about when you came home from touring the facility of Pure Options. Get those clothes out of here.
Yeah, she did tell me something the other day. Oh God, what did she say the other night that was really? Oh, this was bad. So I'm eating soup the other night in my little recliner chair, and she's working on the couch nearby. And she noticed. I don't know if she'd never seen me eat soup, but there was stuff in the soup. It wasn't chicken noodle soup, but there were like little things in the soup. It wasn't like, and she said I wasn't chewing it. I was just swallowing it. It was like a snake or something like that. And she said that I could make a lot of money in porn.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I know, that's what I said.
Because you eat soup, that means you can chug cock? I mean, what does that mean?
The way I swallowed, apparently.
What?
It was pretty bad.
All right. We need to get some cameras on this house over here at Graham's house.
That is a
Holy
story
shit.
we're telling, by the way, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing, where you can get a quality meal that you can chew and enjoy and actually relax with a spouse who doesn't make fun of you.
Are you being bullied, Graham? I mean,
I'm good.
Blink twice. You're being bullied by your wife.
I'm good.
All right.
It was a great line by her, the way she delivered it and everything. It was a great line. I appreciate it. And I must be disgusting to watch eat. Like, it just,
I can't imagine
shoveling in soup down my throat. But I'm telling you right now, Midtown Brewing Company, great place for a date night this weekend to watch some football. Enjoy an American Stout, my absolute favorite stout beer, and you will really love the menu. Go to midtownbrewing.net. You can also just visit them on Facebook as well.
Andrew Gauthier, video evidence may not have been great, but how can that situation just go away so quickly? What could Mullings have been stomping on, and why hasn't our AD put up a stronger fight to get him justice? Unless there's an angle we haven't seen that vindicates Michigan in this situation.
Yeah, I think the problem is if you're Michigan State and you don't know exactly what happened either, maybe exactly how it happened, you sort of know somebody got hit and kicked, and you were really hoping that video would illuminate it and the Big Ten would do a little more of an investigation, and they did not, right? I mean, that's the problem.
Could you ask players that were around the scenario, a situation there, and say, what did you see?
Yeah, the Big Ten's investigation. I mean, the Big Ten is like, Michigan claiming innocence is straight up like the OJ side of things. Like, it's just like, it's not really, like, you haven't proven anything here. Like, unless there is other video that nobody's seen and what.
Yeah, but they watched their guy Harbaugh do it all those years. Why not? Just lie until you can't lie anymore, until you see video evidence,
And I don't know that they're lying. They're just not explaining it very well. Not well enough for me to believe that their side of things. And because you can have common sense. We can all watch the video. It is not conclusive, and that's fair. But it is definitely not conclusive in the idea that somebody was trying to help the situation and not make it worse. Not the video that we can see in the Big Ten is sort of, again, throwing up his arms here.
Andrew, is there anything we can look at to get a proper preview of the Indiana football game this weekend? Or have the teams been changing and had such different schedules so much this season it's hard to develop an actual storyline or expectations?
There's some good stuff in the Indy Star. I wrote a 5 factors and a prediction that went up yesterday. I think Chris Solari's scouting report, which is detailed in different ways, went up on Friday morning. Those are good things to check out. Look, there have been a number of roster changes and everything, but I think at this point people know what Indiana is, and their quarterback's going to play, it appears, and it's going to be. It's going to be a really interesting game. I'm actually really looking forward to this, partly because I'm just so sick of the Michigan week. But I'm also would have been anyway. Like, just the timing of it is, I'm pretty fired up to see the game. I just want to see this Indiana team in person. I want to see how MSU responds. I think it's going to be really interesting. Interesting. You hear that, Eric? Interesting.
Andrew, hearing your recap of the Ferris State Michigan State game is very concerning to me as a MSU Hoops fan. Can you allay is this a word? Allay?
Yes.
Allay? Can you allay my concerns and give me things to look forward to this season? Fiddler isn't playing winning ball. Booker pushed around. Fears just solid. These are big worries against a D2 opponent. Do you want to take it back, what you said?
Apologize.
Booker getting pushed around?
Should I apologize? What you're saying? No,
not apologies, but I'm just saying, were you just saying stuff to say stuff?
No, I'm saying what
Booker was getting pushed around. Okay.
He was getting pushed around.
And lied to us then?
That doesn't mean it will be a problem depending on the matchups and what but he's going to have to develop a certain level of toughness and continue to do so. The one thing I think should give people hope for Booker, other than his 6'11" frame and a lot of skill and ability to stretch the floor and things like that, is how much he improved during the season last year. Like, we've seen it from him. He was completely like a baby deer at the beginning of the year. You just couldn't play him. And then he became an important part of the team later in the season. So that tells you that he's willing to work on things and figure out what doesn't work, and he's developed some of that already. And I wouldn't be surprised if he takes more steps and jumps in season. And again, this is one exhibition game. Monday night against Monmouth, we'll get another feel. And then they play Niagara. Niagara is has an entirely new roster, so who knows what they'll look like. But neither one of those teams are going to be James Madison, I don't think. But they're Division I teams, and they'll be, you get a look. And then they get Kansas, and you'll get a really good look in what they have. And Kansas, by a lot of people's predictions, is the number 1 team in the country coming in. Hunter Dickinson's back for a 47th year there. They've got size. They've added some shooting. That'll be a really telling game in the Champions Classic. And not whether Michigan State wins it. I mean, winning it would be ideal for them, but how they compete, who competes, like who can play at that level and step up and be a difference maker in stressful moments.
Next one from Andrew. If the Lions don't bring in a couple legit options to fill gaps at edge and linebacker, how much do you think that negatively impacts the chances of another deep run? Our offense is amazing, but we are seeing far too many injuries in the thinnest spots of our defense.
I mean, it impacts it. There's no question.
Sure.
Because if you don't, there are quarterbacks out there that if you don't get to them, they will pick you apart.
Any single one of them will pick us apart. I mean, look at Mason Rudolph for a brief period of time last game. I mean, even though we blew them out, I just think we need some sort of depth at linebacker, at least another body there, and defensive end, absolutely. Did you see Mike Tannenbaum on Get Up this morning, what he said that the Lions should do?
What did he say?
Trade with Cleveland. He said, and it says, who says no? And it was Myles Garrett for 3 first-rounders, a second-rounder, and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Hell no.
Right.
Who says no? Everybody.
Dude, the whole panel was just like walking off the set. You know how guys do. Laugh and shit. But, I mean, it's just like this guy used to be a former GM.
Yeah.
Right? Who, if you look him up, I mean, he did some decent things with the Jets back in the day, but it's just like, how do you come up with that? We have to throw in Jahmyr Gibbs, too? Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, Alex Mayer, I had the Muskox take of the day. Think I need to add that to my resume.
No, for sure. Anytime you have the Muskox hot take of the day or reasonable take, whatever, however
At
it's
least tell your friends about it.
Yeah, really. That needs to be your thing. Yep.
Alex, watching Xavier Booker's defense, any chance he isn't on the floor at winning time?
Sure.
Jesus, how bad was this game? This Big Ten Plus. I need to see this. Jeez, what's he getting fucking dunked on?
Well,
what's happening here?
There's a chance just because you can do the math. You get 5 guys on the court, right? And like I think Cohen Carr is going to be one of them. I think Jackson Kohler, more likely than not, based on what we've seen, should be one of them.
Don't coach my team.
And one of the things that happens is there's been a lot of good things said about Kohler. And I've been around teams where a lot of good things are said about players and it doesn't pan out. But when you start to, with your own eyes, can correlate what's also being said about them, then you start to trust it. And so, again, it's early. I want to see Kohler deal with size and other big men and rebound at that level. There's a lot still to prove. But you just start to do the math on the number of play. Like, who isn't on the court then? Is Fiddler not on the court at the end? And maybe it could change from time to time based on how people are playing, and where this team evolves to. But I think there's absolutely a chance that Booker is not in their finishing lineups for sure.
Alex, favorite Halloween candy and least favorite Halloween.
What's your favorite Halloween?
All of them. I think my favorite, like a Nestle's Crunch, Kit Kat, something like that. Least favorite's one of those weird colored, like taffy candies that they used to put like dark jet black wrappers on it back in the day.
Yeah,
they still do those.
Yeah, licorice, anything like that.
Black licorice is gross.
Yeah, I don't need that. Yeah, to me, it's like a really good Snickers bar or something like that. Anytime there's like a real full size candy bar too, it's pretty exciting.
Are people doing that still?
We did a few. Yeah,
a few. Like what? So you picked which? Like you were having your own contest. Like whoever had a good.
No,
did your wife tell you to?
No, my mom was. She lives not far away, and she was handing out candy. And for some reason, she had a few like full size candy bars. And when she finished, she had to run off to her something else in the middle of trick or treating, and she brought over her leftover candy, including all these giant bars. Nice. And we just try to hold them for the bigger kids, So you're not giving them to like.
I guess I'll hold these over here. I'll keep these on my side.
I'll hang on to them for me.
T-Bone's dad. Next. Can we please get some Aunt Karen stories worth telling, Rube? That was a 97.1 level teaser last episode. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. Was I Pat Caputo with a tease? I didn't mean to. My Aunt Karen, like my early 20s, because after my grandparents died, she kind of swindled the house Like she had my grandma sign on her like not deathbed, but she had her sign over the house. So she had my grandparents' house. So when I was 1920, I would go over to my Aunt Karen's. She was a drug dealer. She dealt drugs out of there. And she had like dogs, and she had the scanner on all the time, which by the way, shout out to Aunt Karen. I never saw drugs. I never saw any drugs. I didn't see any deals go down when I was over there. I was over there to drink some beer, and she would get me beer, and I'd hang out with my cousin Kenny, and there would be
how old are you?
Debaucherous shit. Like 19, 20, 21, and then I stopped hanging out over there after a certain time. But she always would have the police scanner on. I was like, wow, she must really care about the community, like that kind of shit. I was like, I was really, Rube was really oblivious back then. Like I knew she dealt drugs, but like I said, I never saw it, so... Shout out to Aunt Karen. Some will come my way, and there's some that there's statutes of limitations that I got to make sure. There's a stout one that's really good.
The Tim Stout?
Yeah.
Aunt Karen?
They've never met, but let's just.
Oh, I want to hear
I don't know if
point.
I can tell it, is all I'm saying. So sorry to 97 one tease you.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because I don't think Tim was very happy about me talking about the pop cans that he took out of Channel 10 break room one time, so... I just got to be careful what I tell on the show sometimes. I'm not really scared to tell it. Believe me, if you see me off there and we'll smoke a joint, I'll tell you this story because it's really good.
Stories for days, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. Again, great place for a date this weekend or brunch on Sunday.
Sorry. So basically, I answer your question with another 97.1 tease. I'm serious. I got to make sure.
Aunt Karen's going to become a whole new personality and character on the show. I love it.
Aunt Karen is actually, because she used to, on Waverly... This is local knowledge, but Waverly Road. No, she's dead.
Oh, okay.
Rest in peace, Aunt Karen. But she was a panhandler, like a legendary panhandler for years. So if you saw my Aunt Karen, she kind of had the hunched over back because she was like in a car accident. Like I had not seen her for years, and she would panhandle on the side of the road, and she became kind of legendary because she had a interesting look to her because of years of drug use and all that shit. It was really, really sad. But if you go back, like I went back on Google Maps. And if you can go back like 7-year periods, right? So if you go to the corner of Waverly and Saginaw, and you go back and it goes 7 years, like she's there like every 2 years. It's kind of weird.
That is, man.
But I think a lot of people around this area know about her. There's like Reddit on the Lansing Reddit. People know my Aunt Karen for sure.
An interesting family,
dude.
Interesting life.
I'm telling you, T-Bone's dad is Jeremy Fears, truly 100% recovered from his gunshot wound. He didn't seem to have the same level of athleticism in the exhibition games that he showed last year.
Yeah, I don't know that he has the bounce yet. I think he's 100% recovered in terms of like can go the game, can do what needs to be done and everything. But he was a bouncy athlete, and I don't know that I've seen that same bounce from him yet. So it's something to very much keep an eye on, and whether that really ever comes back. I don't. Maybe we'll see. That is something to watch. But I think he's recovered in terms of he's playing Division I basketball at a high level. He's he had 8 assists, and I think recovered is safe to say 100%. Whether he is the same athlete, I don't know the answer to that yet.
Jebediah, does MSU make the tourney this year if Cohen Carr plays strictly at the 3?
Yeah, I think so. I think this team's a tourney team, and I think they'll be fine. But I don't think he'll play strictly at the 3. We saw it already. When push came to shove, they put him at the 4, and he has to be on the floor.
They put him at the 5 if Booker gets pushed around. Come on, right?
Well, they had Kohler in there who was not getting pushed around, so it was. I think. But yeah, I
just
don't
think that's crazy though. This team needs Booker more than ever, and just to hear that, it's just like, okay, what are we doing? But Jebediah, what's it going to take for the athletic department to step up and act like a top 20 program? So tired of bending over for the Big Ten.
Yeah, I understand the complaints,
but again, what do you want Haller? I just really would like to know. What do you want him to say?
Right,
go fuck off.
Yeah,
this is bullshit. That's how I would react.
Right.
Would people like my response to it? I don't know. Is it smart for the long term?
I understand the frustration from people. I don't know how you handle it. It's a good question, and the temporary satisfaction of whatever would be said, if it doesn't get you anywhere with the league or doesn't improve much around. Now, maybe at some point that satisfaction's worth it. That satisfaction for feeling like F these guys or something is fine. But I don't know if I'm the athletic director, if that's a statement I want to choose my point in time when I need to do that, and I don't know that this is. I don't know that this is it. It's not that I'd be happy about it in their shoes, but I don't think this is it now.
Joe Naughty, my understanding is Michigan must respond to the NCAA's notice by Ohio State. What does this process look like if Michigan accepts or denies the allegations? Will there be a public hearing of Michigan denials? What say you?
Are we talking about the notice of allegations that from back? Are these new? What are we talking? First of all, John, you are the legal scholar among us, so I would defer to you here in terms of what I know. I don't know. I don't know the situation. And when you say notice by Ohio State, if we're just talking about the regular notice of allegations, that stuff's well underway. But if is there another notice? Am I missed something, Jason?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Maybe I have.
You never miss anything.
I miss lots. I miss everything. Almost everything. It's yeah.
Ryan Schultz and Alex James, apparently with the same exact opinion. I want to know if Graham could agree with this hypothetical statement. Let's say the MSU basketball program fails again this year. Let's say they don't realistically compete for the Big Ten. They don't make the Elite Eight or deeper, and they have issues rebounding all year. If that happens, Izzo has to go to Ishbia in the offseason and say, I need X million dollars to poach these two high-end players to give our program the best chance at a natty. If Izzo isn't able to do that after 5 straight years of failure, he's not the right guy for the program anymore. Unless we are fine with a program that can't regularly compete for Big Ten titles, let alone national titles.
So I think it's obviously if they fall short again this year of the standard they set pre-pandemic, and there's no evidence that they're going to find a way to get around that. Maybe you're right. Maybe you do get to that point. The thing is, unless it turns really south, Izzo's not the type of guy who's not going to be able to choose his own retirement date. So it's really not. It just doesn't matter. And I also think he's competitive, but I think he will acknowledge slippage if he doesn't think he can do it anymore. And I think he'll think he can still do it. And I think he thinks he's the right guy in a pretty turbulent, interesting time in college athletics. I keep using the word interesting. I apologize, Eric. But in a point in time where things are still changing, and you can hire the right coach for what you think is the situation now, and 2 years from now, based on your situation, it's not as good. I don't know that this year is that end-all, be-all. So I don't agree with that entirely, to be honest with you. I wouldn't call 5 straight years failure either. They've been in the tournament every year. They've been to the Sweet 16 once. It has not been the standard that they set, and I think he has talked pretty openly about trying to get there. But I think it's hard to get there. It's hard to know the next guy will do it. And unless the floor becomes lower than it is, I think Izzo's cachet, his knowledge, what he means to the university and program, I don't know that somebody else at Michigan State, given the financial ramifications, like does the next guy get the same NIL support? It ain't guaranteed. You can quickly become Minnesota or Iowa, right? I mean, I think all those things have to be baked into how you think about this.
Right now, either you're stuttering or I'm not picking it up because it's a what. So
Alex James, Tunnel Gate, Stallions Gate, Stomp Gate. 3 recent incidents where MSU was disrespected, given zero explanation, and told to shut up. What measures would you take as the AD, public or private, to send a message to the Big Ten?
I think if I were the AD, I would just privately communicate to Tony Petitti that, it feels like we got the short end here. And
really good pianist.
Not just in the determination and the outcome from the Big Ten, but just sort of how quickly it was communicated and decided and adjudicated based on what happened 2 years ago. And, we've been a really helpful partner in moving, this is Alan Haller speaking, in moving games to Friday at Ford Field and willingness to play Friday games and whatever has been needed. And, there are a lot of other teams like that, but it doesn't always feel like that's being respected and that you're getting yours back. And I would just let that be known that I would make sure they understood that you weren't thrilled. And I think they probably have.
Jay Riemenschneider, nuclear weapon to the head. In the next 4 years, who would you predict to be the better, to get the better recruits, win more titles, have deeper tourney runs, have more head-to-head and overall victories? Michigan basketball with Dusty May or MSU with Izzo?
That's a really hard question because I think Dusty May was a good hire. He obviously did well at Florida Atlantic. But I don't know what Michigan's situation will be when the transfer portal era where they've had some issues getting kids in. I don't know what their NIL situation will be. He's spent a lot of time, from what I've heard, on NIL and trying to build that up for basketball. And 4 years is probably the maximum of about what Izzo has left is a really good run. And I also wouldn't entirely bet against that guy yet. So I would probably, if you said bazooka to your head, and if you're wrong, you can't have any more groovy donuts, and you were going to put a new bazooka time. We're going to put you're dead too, which is probably worse. Is that worse? Nuclear weapon
Death?
to the head. Yeah. Well, life without groovy donuts is not really living. But I would. I don't know. That's a good question. I would.
Wait, after all that, you didn't even answer?
Sorry, give me Izzo. I think there's more proven track record. Sorry, yeah, it's bazooka.
Go either way.
You have to answer it, don't you? Yeah.
Richard Kane. Is Signetti the best hire since Saban? Jesus, fuck this guy. Signetti must be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, nobody thought that of Saban in year one. I mean, people thought Mel Tucker that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was, 2021. So keep that in mind. Like
before the phone call, yeah.
Yeah. Well, not up till the phone call, but in 2021, people thought very highly of the situation.
It's unbelievable.
And there are lots of programs that have had great year ones. There was a point when Texas A&M thought they'd hired gold with Jimbo Fisher, and that didn't work. So I think Signetti's a great hire, great fit. I think he'll do great things at Indiana.
Hall of Famer.
But
God damn.
Best since Saban, it's way, way, way too early.
Richard Kane, someone asked the question last week, how do schools protest start times to the networks? Let me ask this question. Have whores been able to tell their pimps when they go out to work? Well, I mean, they know the streets a little better. I think whores, he could tell you when when it picks up on the streets.
Maybe some of them have some leverage. I don't know.
I would think. It's 2024. I think whores have a little bit more leverage now over pimps.
I have not worked in the sex worker industry long enough to know the lay of the land, but despite what my wife says.
Richard Kane, is it a good idea for a man who makes his living by writing words to admit with words he is writing that he does not have the words to describe in writing something he observed in a basketball game?
Probably not idea.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube.
Yeah. I did say I couldn't find the words to describe Cohen Carson, but I thought that was only fair. It's just hard to put into words. It's sort of like how I feel about groovy donuts, right? It's just I cannot adequately explain my love for and my excitement about a groovy donut. And if you have not had a groovy donut, or you just want to make them part of your weekend, part of your tailgate, which I would highly recommend, be it at home or be it at Spartan Stadium, wherever it might be, if you're coming into town, go to groovydonuts.com, place an order, or just swing on by. They're open 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing and also in Williamston. I'm telling you, the selection there, it's outstanding. They've got great fall donuts and some classics and some specialties, and it's just, look, you'll notice the difference. The Groovy Donuts difference is unlike any other place you're getting your donuts.
All right, Shep next. Which of these is the best example of Graham's utter lack of conscience? Number one, swatting his own mother's shot in a pickup game and screaming, "Get that weak-ass shit out of here." 2, lying to 75-year-old Fred Human, forcing him to spend the precious few arthritic steps he has left walking across the gym just to ensure Graham gets his spot close enough to smell Izzo's Drakkar Noir. And 3, pushing his gay best friend down the stairs, killing him when he tried to come out to him.
That's not how that went down.
We got to go number 3.
Yeah, but that's not how that went down.
Someone died.
I did have a friend come out to me in college. It was a really good friend, dorm mate, who was...
Did you miss that push or something, or what?
No, but he did not come out to us for a while because he was scared of the response of myself. Like me, and...
Because he thought you were gay too, or...
No, he thought that I was a little too bro-ish. I had a little too much Connor Cook in me. Me and my
Oakley wraparound shades.
Yeah, no, I would put down the Kangol hat at that point. It's I was embarrassed that he thought it actually was a really big moment for me in the sense that it made me reconsider the jokes I made, the things I said even in settings among friends, that I had made another friend, that I and another roommate had been the reason that he was uncomfortable coming out for a while. That was something that we had to look at ourselves on, because that's not, because you're thinking, What and the way I present myself made one of my friends uncomfortable in that situation.
You sure this wasn't like a back-to-school special you thought you watched back in the day?
No.
You're just conflating this?
Really happened. Columbia College dorms, 1999. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
College. Steve, could it be that Akins and Booker are good and solid Big Ten players and will not reach their great status we fans think they should be? What will we need to see earlier in the year that changes our collective minds?
Well, yeah, I don't know that Jaden Akins is ever going to be considered like one of the great ones at Michigan State. I think if that was going to happen, you would have seen more. I think he'll be a really good player this year for them. I do. I have, I don't know that he'll be the offensive player that people are hope, but I do think he'll have a good year. Booker is interesting because, we talk about Booker in terms of like that guy should be an NBA draft pick next year based on but just from a physical standpoint, he has work to do. But he has also, when you're 6'11", and you can shoot like that, there is that's just something a lot of people don't have, right? There is a level of skill and athleticism and things to him that he just needs to continue to work on being physically as intimidating as he can make himself.
And next, is it unrealistic to think that Cohen Carr can really have a really solid season this year? I think the team's floor is significantly higher with him.
I think there's lots of reasons things he'll be really good. And I think part of that is it is clear to me with Cohen Carr that he understands that, like, he just looks different. Last year, he understood how to be a great athlete. Like, he was an unbelievable, in terms of just pure athleticism, raw athlete. But I don't think he understood the game that well. And you can tell how much he's improved in that area by the way he got to the basket the other night, with the ball, without the ball, the way he inserted himself in the offense, the willingness to take threes even when he didn't. I just think he has taken massive steps, and he's actually, the guy's actually a basketball player, not just
Is this high school coaching, though, to blame? Like, I just figure, like, a guy at that level and caliber, like, he doesn't understand basketball?
With some of these guys who have just unreal athletic advantages.
It comes easy, yeah.
And then, they don't really have to figure, certain things out at the high school level because they just have so many athletic advantages. It's like
but they know they're going to another level, though.
Correct.
And then hopefully another level after that.
It's like a quarterback in high school who runs, because he's a great athlete, runs at every opportunity and then doesn't necessarily learn how to read a defense, or his first instinct isn't to go to a second read or anything like that because he's got so many great advantages, and that hinders him later on. I think sometimes, we saw this with Doug Anderson, who never developed into a great player when he was at U of D, and he wasn't the athlete. He was the dunker Cohen Carr was, but he wasn't the athlete Cohen Carr is in certain ways. What you want guys to become is what Jason Richardson was, which was an unbelievable above-the-rim athlete, very good player who became a great player and really worked on his overall game.
And next, based on what we have seen from Aiden Childs and Nick Marsh so far, what should the expectations be for next season?
Pretty high. They've got a lot of ability, and they will have gone through an entire season. And Marsh, I have very little doubt, based on what we've seen from Nick Marsh, that he will be a true go-to guy next year as long as he's healthy. Childs, he can make NFL throws that a lot of quarterbacks can't. He has got great mobility. Still makes some questionable decisions here and there, and that's the stuff he's got to grow out of. But really, that ought to be a tandem that's a headlining type tandem next year for sure.
David Jackson, do Graham and Tom Izzo know how to pronounce all of the following? Kerr, Sisman, Zappala, Kofi Cockburn, Ypsilanti.
Cockburn.
I would put myself over Izzo on this. It's Zymon. And apparently,
Z-Dog.
I just found out today that Zappala is not Zappala. It's the L is like a W. Zappawa.
I also found out Cockburn is Coburn.
Just today?
Somehow. Cockburn. That's Coburn.
Not by listening to Izzo. Yeah, no, it's the same way.
Silent cock.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. You can't spell a name like that and call yourself Coburn. That's like me saying my name's spelled Graham, but
no, it's pretty much cock, couch, and then you said the cock is silent. It's just couch.
Correct.
Or in my opinion.
Yeah, or you want my name could be any, like, it's one. If I said my name is Jason spelled Graham, it's no different than Cockburn being Coburn.
David Jackson, what have you seen in Zisman Zappala that is so much better than you expected? Didn't you sort of expect him to be a little more than a fairly deep reserve? And how can he be on the verge of grabbing a starting job?
Yeah, he's not a stiff. And I knew he wouldn't be a stiff, but he's got a little more to him, right? He's just, I think he's a little more sturdy. He's a little more able. Now, you saw guys with quick hands give him some trouble here and there, again, just with Ferris State. And so, he's a guy, like, I think they need his size. I think he's going to provide important minutes every game. Now that I've seen this team, I think he's a 12 to 15 minute game a guy who's really important at the 5 position for them, most likely. And so I'm curious to see what happens against Hunter Dickinson, against other bigs. Like, what does he look like? I'm sort of ready to find that out.
David Jackson, if there were no scholarship player limits on rosters and you could add Hogard and Sissoko to this year's team, would Izzo want them? Would they get playing time?
They wanted to keep Sissoko. I know other people. I think the best thing that ever happened was Sissoko moving on in a lot of ways, and Hogard too. It was just time. People couldn't stand it. Izzo probably couldn't take it. It was time. I think Hogard might have a good year at Vanderbilt because I don't think he's a bad player, and he knows this is it. And he had some,
But if you had to bring one of those guys back, Hogard or Sissoko,
you bring back Sissoko because he affects less of the team. Less of the team. Yeah. I mean, because essentially, I think both guys were given last year addition by subtraction, and so you want the least amount of addition, and Sissoko is the least amount of addition if he were back.
I wanted to like Hogard. I really did. I thought he had all the talent in the world. He just, on the floor, he had the body language of someone that didn't want to be there. So that's pretty much the only. Just crazy that you'd pick Sissoko. And it's the right pick anyway. But he was
a guy who was always in the locker room willing to talk afterwards. I never had an issue with Hogard. I thought he was, but it was clear that it's just time for something else for MSU.
Chris, a little late, but if the SEC wanted to expand north and gave MSU a hefty offer to leave the Big Ten, should MSU consider it or turn it down immediately?
Yeah, you don't leave.
Good question.
You don't leave the Big Ten though. You just don't. The cachet that the Big Ten gives you.
Maybe they show some respect to MSU in the SEC.
Yeah. No, the Big Ten is the best thing that ever happened to MSU, and MSU should and will continue to be a member.
The SEC. C-Dubs91, do you start Fears at the point and have Holloman be the energy guy off the bench, or have Holloman start games and Fears learn and use it as motivation to get better?
I think you start your best point guard and you figure out who that is, and I think Fears will start the year that way. But I think you let it play out and you let whoever's the most effective guy be the guy. You don't worry about feelings and this guy's supposed to be this. It's what somebody is, and I think you have to, especially when you have a team with this sort of depth where you have a lot of guys and you're hoping people separate themselves. If there is separation, you have to acknowledge it and adjust to it and play those guys accordingly.
C-Dubs, is the new college football playoff era, is it better to be Pitt or MSU?
MSU 10 out of 10, because Pitt is it doesn't have its own facility. It's not in a college town where people care that much. It is so much easier, I think, to recruit to MSU. MSU's got enough donors, high-level donors. Yeah, you want to be MSU. Now, I understand in the current ACC, you may think it's easier to get to 10 wins, but look at Indiana right now. MSU most years, you don't even, if you finish in the top 4 in the Big Ten, which should be something reasonably MSU can aspire to, most years that's going to get you into playoff. If you win 10 games with a schedule that's not a joke, that will get you into playoffs, and MSU should be able to do that. It's not about finishing on top of the standings. It's about getting to 10 wins, and I don't think today's schedule is all that different than it would have been 5-6 years ago in terms of that and with the changes in the Big Ten.
C-Dubs91 are the members of the Izzone, the most unathletic people in the world. The halftime game of Lightning on Monday might have been the worst thing I've ever seen. Worse than the Red Box Bowl?
Yeah.
Worse than that? Come on.
I didn't see it at all. Like, I watch a little bit of whatever's going on at halftime. Must have been really dialed in on the quick takes. I don't know.
A lot of white people, I'm guessing, right?
That's part of it. There's a lot of white people. Too many white people.
It's got to be wild, though. All of a sudden, you're watching the game and you're on the floor playing Lightning, though. I mean, it's got to be, like, even at Graham's level of basketball, that would kind of throw you a little bit at first, right?
Yeah, and if you didn't bring the right shoes, or you didn't, you're not
stoned out of your brain.
Yeah, if you've been having some pure options for a little while, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you're on the court."
I'd leave that shit at half court, dude.
Yeah. No, I got my.
Get me out of here. Why'd you ask me to do this?
Let's take a really quick break, and we come back. Many more of your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Matt C., Corey Ostrom, and Steve Whitco up next. Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Pure Options, precision crafted cannabis, and Firekeepers Casino and Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app.
Hey, sports fans, are you tired of the same old routine? Looking for a way to unwind after a long day? Look no further than Pure Options, the premier destination for all of your cannabis needs in Lansing, Detroit, Muskegon, and Mount Pleasant. Whether you're cheering for the Lions, Spartans, or the Wolverines, Pure Options has everything you need to elevate your game day experience. Mention Couch the Rube when you visit Pure Options and get a Pro Grow 8th with a $50 purchase. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal listener. Swing by Pure Options today and elevate your cannabis experience to a whole new level. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play from your phone, tablet, or laptop. Get in on all the football action with pre- and in-game wagering. There's showdowns every week in football that you can't miss. Plus, the college and pro hoops are red hot and the pucks are cool. Get your first casino deposit and sports wager matched up to $500 each. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at GoMuskox.com, where Couch and the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. If you're looking for a relaxed vibe, great food, and an outstanding beer selection, Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing is your place. Enjoy their famed chicken and waffle fries, fish and chips, or any of their delicious burgers or salads. Midtown Brewing Company also offers 40-plus beers on tap, including ciders and seasonal offerings and daily happy hour specials. The spacious and cozy vibe makes Midtown Brewing Company a perfect place for a beer with a friend, a work lunch, or to watch the games on its big screen TVs. If you'd rather eat at home, Midtown Brewing Company offers a terrific carryout menu and free delivery on orders of $20 or more. Visit MidtownBrewingCompany.net or stop by 402 South Washington in downtown Lansing for the Midtown Brewing Company experience.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by our friends at Pure Options Precision Crafted Cannabis. Go to pureoptions.com. Join the Pure Perks loyalty program. You can have your Pure Options experience tailored just to you. They've got events, deals there. You can find the location information. Give them a try. Let us know what you think, and let them know Couch in the Rube sent you, where Couch in the Rube listeners, of course, get a free 8th of Pro Grow if they spend $50 or more there. They also have all their great deals going on that might even be better than that, but always let them know Couch and the Rube sent you. By the way, before we get back into these Groovy Donut Twitter questions, Eric, listening live today, Eric Schultz, our friend, sarcastically responded to one of my earlier statements, said, "Totally agree, Graham. Haller being more angry wouldn't make it better for MSU fans or the program, just like D'Antonio's response in 07 had no bearing on the rivalry. Didn't lead to MSU's dominance, didn't unite the fan base. So you're right. Just go all well and move on." It's a fair point in that D'Antonio comparison, because that response, right? And look, one of the things Alan Haller is very aware of is like the D'Antonio moment. He and I have talked about that before in the rivalry. And so, maybe there was an opportunity for that. Maybe there was something that should have been done and wasn't communicated effectively and needs to be looked at. And there was an opportunity, but the problem is I kind of think that the Antonio moment needs to come from the coach because he's the one that also determines the winning, right? And I think to that end, I thought that Jonathan Smith was pretty good on the rivalry, and he was, but he didn't have a D'Antonio moment. I wouldn't say. I mean, that was that stands out above everything. And I don't know if this presented the same opportunity, but it's a fair point by Eric.
Matt C. Jason, is Graham wearing his M Go Blue shirt today since he's a closet Wolverine fan? I don't know. He's got an Oldsmobile.
Yeah, lug nuts and Oldsmobile. I'm a Lansing guy.
His wife let him wear his Oldsmobile shirt he likes. Elizabeth made sure it was okay.
Yeah, she said it was cool.
Matt C. Why is it wrong to expect Jonathan Smith to have a winning record versus Michigan? Unlike Graham, some of us have expectations for greatness and TV over 27 inches.
Thanks, Matt. We do have a 55-inch television in the living room. It just looks small.
Yeah, but you can only watch like TV shows on that. No sports.
Yeah, I'm not allowed. Yeah.
Graham, go grab your monitors if you want to watch that.
Sit by yourself in the den. Walk on the treadmill.
Don't take a picture of it this time. Remember last time you got embarrassed.
No, I think it is fair to want that and expect that, and at least to get. I mean, I think it's absolutely fair to expect a Michigan State football coach to win their share and to be about 500 against Michigan. And you can want a winning record, you can expect, but to want more than that. And I know D'Antonio did it, and and there were some other factors. But I don't think it's wrong to expect them to be, right on Michigan's heels and making Michigan uncomfortable and winning big games against Michigan. And whether the overall winning number winds up being exactly, you want it to feel like that rivalry is at worst equal. You want them to feel uncomfortable about the rivalry, that they have to really pay attention to it, and that if you're Michigan State, that you don't have to constantly try to defend yourself from when you're losing. I mean, they've lost 3 years in a row now, and you can feel that if you're a Michigan State fan. Like, you can't have that. That stuff can't continue. You've got to be winning, enough that life isn't miserable when you actually do lose.
Matt C., why is the MSU administration so soft? They allowed Mullings to go from stomping on a staffer to the TMZ Detroit News, turning him into a superhero.
Welcome to the blue wall.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. I don't think they're, I think they were surprised by how quickly the Big Ten came back with a ruling. It's just so different than 2 years ago and how it was handled. And I think that probably caught them off guard.
So what's the difference between like the tunnel thing? Is it because Michigan fans they came out and they were just they were more vocal about it after the fact, right?
A couple things happened. One, you had more clear, obvious video. You had a video in the tunnel and you had reporter recordings as well. That's where it starts, right? You got Kyle.
Reporters.
You got Kyle Austin and Matt Charbonneau on the case, and Solari tried, but he accidentally took a picture instead of taking a video. So you have that. You have those three things happening. And then you also have Jim Harbaugh exacerbating it by saying that these guys should be criminally charged, and or at least alluding to that should be looked into. And then our friend Eli over in Washington jumping in and saying, yes, I will do that for you. And so those things, a little bit different set of scenarios. It was much more clear what had happened. It was those players were also talked to and interviewed, and then they waited for the charges to determine on suspensions. The Big Ten did. Some of them had already been suspended for a while when those charges came down. So the Big Ten wasn't exactly strong then either, but they left guys twisting in the wind. They let the legal process is what's so different. That created more of the timeline, and the Big Ten let it happen. And Michigan State, I mean, the problem Michigan State had, and Michigan State was the one that suspended its own players first. That wasn't the Big Ten either. So Michigan State trying to play ball here with the Big Ten was trying to get them to, and I think and Alan Haller said it the first day, he thought there were a lot of new people there, and he wanted to give them a chance to do the right thing. And whether he considers this the right thing right now, I guarantee you Haller probably wishes he had never called Tony Petitti right now, because it just didn't work out how they anticipated. They don't look great. And, yeah, it just moves on, and Michigan State doesn't look great, and Michigan's able to claim that nothing happened by just saying nothing happened, and then people chime in and go, look, Mullings was a hero, apologize. Like, what are we looking at here? Like, what are we looking at here? And I'm happy to tell.
Come on, Kim.
Again, I'm happy to tell Mullings' story. Happy to tell Mullings' story. He is welcome to call. He is an adult. He can call me. He has my number.
Hello, Khalil. Are you there? Is this you? Is this really you?
Want to share a groovy donut with me? We will.
I'm not going to apologize.
I will take you to Groovy Donuts, and we will have a couple donuts. I might have more than 2, and we'll talk about your story.
Your gram sucks.
My gram
You
sucks?
doing yourself.
Yeah, well, it's weird to do yourself. I don't know.
I know. No one asked for it.
Yeah, I suck at this.
No, you're good, man. Corey Ostrom, can MSU and Rossi scheme against the big weaknesses with Indiana's strength, using quick underneath and flat routes, or is it just a personnel issue?
It's a good question. It'll be very interesting because, Indiana is really good getting guys in space. They're really good underneath and intermediate stuff. And, if you get linebackers in space, that hasn't been great. But I like, from a matchup perspective, Rossi has been mostly very good. Now, they have not gotten pressure on the quarterback in a while, and I think that's got to change. Been 4 games without a sack. But I think Indiana's got really good schemes. I'm looking forward to seeing how this happens. Can they make Indiana uncomfortable? I don't know the answer to that.
Corey Ostrom, is the media following up on the Big Ten's decision to ignore the Mullings issue as to who was under the pile and were they indeed attacked and harmed in any way? Holding accountability is the primary job of the media, right? Surely they don't pick a side like in politics.
I don't know how much more the following up there's going to be. This isn't, Watergate here. It's not, my level of give a shit is waning quickly, be honest. And if, this is why maybe you should support fan media, because who cares about this stuff the most is people who are,
Rico.
Yeah, who have press credentials, but also have the word Spartan in whatever organization they work for, right? Like those people still care. And I'm not saying if it was really egregious what had happened, but if MSU is not going to come out and say this is specifically what happened and this is why it was wrong, and Michigan is going to just claim there's video that only they have seen that's created a different angle and obvious that their guys didn't do anything, if somebody gives me another video, like I'm not going to go seeking out. Put it this way, I'm not going to call every TV news person and see if they have everything else. If somebody sends me a different video, because I don't give a fuck. I wish
you
this
want to
game
make
would
those
die.
calls?
I don't. I mean, man, I get it. Maybe
Fred,
that makes me bad at
Fred,
this.
do you have any video?
Maybe that makes me bad at this. My interest is just about gone. But if somebody gave me like if Mullings gets a hold of me, or if and I've reached out to him, if somebody sends me video differently, or I hear if somebody reaches out to me that creates something, and maybe there is somebody else working on it, but man,
Could we at least get Mullings' reaction when he hears that Graham Couch is trying to get a hold of him? Can we just get that, even if he doesn't want to talk to Graham? I just need to know.
I'd be like that buffoon. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the word to use. Steve Whitko, most hostile moment you've had with someone working for MSU or a big MSU donor? How about someone working in the media for the opposition?
Oh, for me, most hostile moment with anybody MSU is definitely with Izzo. I mean, it's just I've had
Don't coach my team.
more. I've had a few knockdown dragouts with him, but that's one of the things I also appreciate about him is, you move on, you say your feelings, and he doesn't hide them, and then you still cover him, and he still provides access.
Why don't you write something?
And it's Izzo by a mile. That's not even close. In terms of working in the media, opposing media, there have been a few of these things. I mean, I felt all of Fred Human. I'm trying to think the worst where I've had some spats or people have been really upset with me. But a lot of times, if you're willing to sort of meet people, like Gary Parrish wrote a column about me with my AP vote, and then we just had him on the show, right? And so we've done some of that stuff.
We did?
Yeah, we had Gary Parrish on.
When?
5 years, whenever I was doing
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's been a
Oh,
while.
okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's
5 years.
Yeah, but no, there have been a few.
Kind of like 2 weeks and 3 years, you know what I mean?
I can't think of the worst,
Push
but
somebody.
there have been a few in the media that have been a little tense.
Why don't you back off? Steve, best place to take a doob to the Dome before going into the game at Spartan Stadium? Well, you're outdoors, so I mean, as long as it's not in the stadium, so anywhere outside of the stadium, I think. Right? Are people going to get offended? As long as Elizabeth Couch is not around to get angry about the smell, I think you're good anywhere.
You'll be fine. Yeah, Pure Options is here for you anywhere outside.
Mm-hmm. A Munfield keg. During play, a full-speed defender can unintentionally lower their head a little bit and use their crown to hit someone and get thrown out of two halves. Loveland can intentionally use the crown of his helmet to headbutt a player and not miss a down. How does this make sense?
He did not use the crown of his helmet. It was a face mask situation. It was not the crown of his helmet. But and you're right. The clock
okay,
was,
then forget it then.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, I'm not saying there shouldn't have been a flag. I mean, yeah. Again, the targeting calls are ass. They've completely lost what is the intent of targeting, which is players launching themselves using the crown of their helmet, and anything less than that they've got to come up with a different degree of punishment, sort of like red card, yellow card in soccer, where there's a caution or you miss a series or it's a 15-yard penalty, but that's it. Whatever it might be, what they have right now is stupid.
And why not calling on a running back if they're put their head down and they're going after someone?
Again,
right?
Every quarterback sneak, the quarterback should be thrown out. Just kick him out and start. That's how you want to give people attention.
If people are doing the couch drinking game, I want to make sure they're doing a shot for couch, doing that take for the 95th time.
Do you do it with a shot or do you do it with a donut? You got to eat a donut every time you hear it.
You do both. I mean, whatever you're into.
Yeah.
You know. Christopher Cruz next. Graham, what's your opinion on Michigan fanboy media who pays $10 a month for blue check marks, scolding and correcting you? Also, see more and more fanboy media and Twitter personalities on the MSU side. How do we make it stop? They are incredibly irritating.
It's not going to, and it's like that a lot of places. It's just not.
Stop giving out the press passes then.
Well, that's
how you do it.
One of the things you could do.
They hand out some of these press passes to people that you need to look into it a little bit more, right? I'm not saying that they're not doing work, but you have to look at the value of work. If you're just putting on some shit on SI Maven, do you deserve to go to the game and get a credential? Yeah?
I don't have a problem with that. I don't.
Okay.
But I do think
But how do you get it to stop?
I do wish there was tiered media in some places, like they have in the NBA, where if you travel, for example, the guys that get to go in the locker room are the ones like the Athletic, and for the Pistons, for example, the Athletic, the Free Press, and the News. The guys that travel are the three people who get in the Pistons locker room. That's it.
But why let them in? Period, though. I mean, you can buy a ticket if you want.
Right. Well, I understand.
So you need them in the press box, but not in the locker room for certain people.
In a lot but people have gone on to cover pro sports to tell you this is not really a problem. It's only really a problem in the college space because there's so many people are giant fans and also want to do this type of work. And I don't really have a problem with it. Are there occasional times when somebody gets in your way or something? Sure, but most of the people who do this stuff are good people, nice people who I've had nothing but good interactions with. Now on Twitter, you do get one side of it. Like to me, one of the problems with like having the word Spartan in your name as an organization is that you almost instantly don't have credibility on talking about anything that's because if you're too nice to MSU, it's like, well, of course. Or if you're critical of a rival, of course. And I get some of that shit being a Lansing State Journal person who covers Michigan State. I get the same shit, like Lansing, And granted, I grew up a Michigan State fan. I'm not knocking that. Didn't go there.
But now he's dead inside, so don't even come at him with that shit.
Yeah, now, I mean, yeah.
Ricky White, the fourth.
But how do you make it stop? I don't. It has to be each school wanting fewer people. They're not going to do it. Schools let folks in and want the coverage, and a lot of these people behave very professionally. There are obviously other cases. But
it's not everybody, yeah.
So,
Ricky White the fourth. How are we feeling about Connor Eargood as the new Detroit News MSU beat writer? The Blue Wall has infiltrated Spartan Stadium. Does he still report directly to Ward Manuel?
Connor was the one guy who went after Harbaugh.
Welcome to the Blue Wall.
On the Michigan media side of things when he was on the Michigan Daily student newspaper. I think he's going to be good. I like Connor. He asks good questions. I haven't read a ton of his work yet, but he asks really good questions. And he's a young guy.
I can't wait till you ask him how to pronounce his last name when he's on the show.
Instead of
before I'm sure. Instead of when you ask him to come on the show.
That's fair enough. I probably will.
I'm sorry, is this right? You're good? You're very good?
Yeah. I think he's going to be good.
Ricky White, Jason, who and what is sharp money? And how do you know who it's coming in on? Why is it called the hook? And why do you always want it given to you? Well, that way, because the hook you can't push. So it's better to have it on your side than giving it, because that way you're going to probably lose. Sharp money is basically people that I'm surprised it's sharp money at all, because a lot of these books ban these guys. But it's sharp money. I use Action Network to see where some sharp money is coming on it. They use data and all that stuff that's way above my head. I know it's. I've been a part of it for 3 years, so I know it works for sure. So that's where I see some of the sharp money when we talk about our picks and stuff like that. So, Ricky White.
It's the sort of information you should have had when you started your own sports book.
Dude, 1,000. Listen. And that was 16 years ago, by the way. This wasn't when I was like 19, 18. I was like 29, 28
you're pushing
years
30, yeah.
Listen, I am constantly learning. I'm 45. I will probably learn a lot more. By the time I'm 60, I probably will have shit figured out somewhat.
Hopefully.
Ricky White, late take. Instead of meddling in the Pistons and having to pay a coach $65 million to go away after 1 year, why doesn't Tom Gores instead spend $10 to $15 million per year on Spartans NIL? A way better way to spend his money, and a lot more well-liked for it.
It's just not his priority. And I think there are things with NBA owners. Like, there's stuff with Ishbia now that he can't do, or he funnels it through his brother, or however they do it. But I shouldn't.
His brother just donated $1 million to the baseball team, right?
Quite a bit, yeah. And I'm not exactly sure how all that works, but
it's rich person shit, man.
Yeah,
get around it. But I'm saying he could spend $10 million. Why not just break off $10 million though? Let it be known, because Tom loves himself some Gores, right? So why wouldn't you have a little PR little thing about it?
Yeah, no, $15 million would cover a full year of the NIL.
I would be the most
football.
Popular billionaire. I really think I would.
Yeah, I would not spend my money that way. But
why not? If you could just break off, what's $10 million?
$10 million is
how many cops from jail, or calls from jail, how he made his money.
Every kid in Lansing schools can go to college for free for $10 million. That's what you do. So,
but that's boring. We want to watch sports.
Yeah, fuck these owners.
We get the smart stuff, but
fuck your donors.
Scott, for the 7 and 7:30 kickoffs, are they considered a part of the night game allotment for the West Coast schools, even though they kicked off at 4 p.m. local time?
Apologize for the F-bombs. Yeah, that's a good question. How they figure that out? They shouldn't be figuring night games, because they're not night games. They're afternoon games out there.
We're dropping MFers now?
All right, Jake Hawkins, MSU, Scott.
One more from Scott, you.
All right, geez, you don't give me a second. Scott, you really don't. If MSU beats Indiana, would it be the biggest upset of MSU over Indiana in the series history?
I don't know what the other spreads have been, but
not since Lee Corso coached this team.
Yeah, they've played with Indiana being really good in Michigan. Probably, because I can't imagine a time like this.
Can I say last week, though, it was nice? I know I shit on Lee Corso, though, to see him get his, I guess the kids say flowers or whatever.
It was fun.
Last week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I like Lee Corso, but I hate these they just force these old people back on TV when they should just go away somewhat. Jake Hawkins, who's the X factor for MSU in Indiana in tomorrow's game?
The offensive line, right? If this progress continues, the rest of Michigan State is going to offense, I think, and playmakers are going to start putting it together at some point. The offensive line progress needs to be real, and it's two really strong performances on the ground in a row. Protection, I don't think will be as difficult against Indiana as Michigan, although Indiana throws some shit at you. But I think it's the offensive line for MSU.
All right, Couch on Fire. MSU beats Indiana if blank.
If they score,
that's it.
4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns.
How many turnovers?
4 touchdowns and one no more than 1 turnover. 4 touchdowns, no more than 1 turnover. They beat Indiana.
Jesus. All right, Couch
Which
on
they
Fire.
have not done all year, by the way, other than playing Prairie View. So,
Couch on Fire. Are you okay with the Tigers bringing back former Tigers for a last hurrah? Verlander, Scherzer, JD, etc. And if so, who? Oh God, JD Martinez would be nice.
Yeah.
But what does Verlander? Well, I mean, what do these guys have left? What does Verlander, Scherzer have left?
What's the contract look like? I think Verlander could undoubtedly be in a rotation, though, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried watching him with Houston. He just doesn't have it. I don't know anymore. And I would love Scherzer back as well, if in a small role. I mean, these guys have to be good locker room guys, right?
And have to be friendly contracts.
Oh, that's first and foremost. Couch on Fire. Over under on how many Jameson Williams? On how long Jameson Williams is a Lion? Over under, like seasons or?
Yeah, I guess seasons. Yeah, does he spend his career?
It's not going to be much longer if he gets in another. Right? I mean, how many more of these kind of incidents that?
I think he's got some more in him.
Well, of course, he's a talented kid. You don't want to throw him away. I'm just saying, but if he keeps slapping you in the face with these kind of things, it's like, okay.
The more he gets in trouble, the longer he'll be a Lion, because the lower his next contract will be, and the only way they can afford him is if he keeps getting in trouble.
Right. But, I mean, if next year, we have him under contract for 2 more years. So, Jake Hawkins with Curtis Rourke, now officially playing tomorrow. How will MSU's defense and secondary be tested?
Yeah, it's a lot of quick underneath stuff and mid-range. He's a good quarterback, and he's got mobility to him. Like, he can get out of some trouble. He doesn't have like a beat you deep arm. That's not who they've been a lot this year. And so I think it's tackling in space is really the key. And if you do that, if you make them work all the way down the field, and you can get some. The real question for me is, can MSU get pressure on him? They have not gotten pressure on the last 4 quarterbacks.
Next one from the Hawk. Thoughts on the recent story about Jamison Williams nearly getting arrested for having a gun without a CPL. How hard is it to get a CPL as a rich person? Like, if you had money, right? Like, what is the reason to not get a concealed permit? Like, if you're an athlete, I totally get wanting a gun if you're an athlete or anyone. I don't really care if you want a gun, as long as you get a concealed permit or have a permit for the gun. But why not have one? Your brother got one. Why can't... You know what I mean?
I feel like Jamison needs a good life coach. Just somebody with him. He
needs a guy like me that's just a no shit. Like, no shit. Really? Don't go hang out at Coney Island at 2 a.m. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You're rich. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Bring the party to your house.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. I do it every weekend. Jake Hawkins, when is the column on MSU basketball season preview and predictions coming out?
It'll be up in the morning, Saturday morning. Was hoping to get it up today. It's been a busier week than anticipated.
And Halloween last night?
Halloween. And I actually had to, we were going to do the show, but it would have been up today. It was either the show or the column. So you can't have both.
No column?
I sound like
a producer guy?
I didn't mean like that. But
you don't want to call them?
The show does take a fair bit of Friday. So, but it'll be up in the morning for sure. And I appreciate you asking, because it's one of my favorite pieces to write. And I know a lot of people look forward to the spin through all the 30-plus games of MSU basketball.
All right, speaking of Jerk Guy, Upper Deck Jerk Guy, how does Michigan keep getting away with it? Do you think J-Mo should get the same penalty as Mozzie Smith?
Which is nothing, right? And J-Mo's not going to get anything either, so there you go.
Well, they're going to investigate the police officer that probably...
right.
Did you see the sergeant that showed up, had a Lions case on his phone, and was like, wait, who? That's Jamison Williams. What do you... Like, 2 cops didn't know who J-Mo was. Is that possible?
I wouldn't know who he was.
Yeah, you would. If you saw Jamison Williams.
On the license? I guess I would. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Jerk Guy is wearing a muskox while eating groovy donuts and imbibing pure options while watching Hallmark movies considered couch core.
That's everything. That's as good as life gets. If you can do it on a back deck with a fire, that's it. That's life. That's what we're trying to do tonight.
And lastly, do either of you have rudolphia?
Hold on, I'm going to look this up. Please don't be porn.
I am the passenger.
Free Ubers.
It's a fetish of redheads. I'm glad I went to a incognito browser for my fetish of redheads thing.
Oh yeah, what else is on that browser? No.
We appreciate all of you and for producing our show and hanging with us and whatever it is. And I can't believe you listen. You're well aware of Pure Options, who we also appreciate very much. Go to pureoptions.com for location information and to join their Pure Perks loyalty program. Download their app. Just let them help you get through life. We appreciate Groovy Donuts. Go to groovydonuts.com, make it part of your tailgate. groovydonuts.com. 2 locations, Lakes Lansing Road and East Lansing, also in Williamson. Just improves your weekend exponentially. Trust me. We also appreciate Firekeepers and the Firekeepers iCasino Sportsbook app. If you're going to bet some games this weekend, download the app, have some fun, do it responsibly. We'll be back Monday. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Rube.